reality. Her hair is not its natural colour, her eyes conceal will not engage my gaze, and her lips, though pretty, could be fuller. Why then am I distracted through my days? She has a slim figure, I'll give you that, trim, though her breasts are a little bit small, and gravity has given them a pull. So why then, when she's there, does my heart brim? She speaks well, her teeth are good, and she knows everything a woman needs to know. But what about her temper tantrums, though? How come I love her more just after those? And what possesses me to set down this, which when discovered will bring an end to bliss? You look so pretty at my wedding, Mum. For this one, you need to imagine I'm a woman. That's about all the introduction needs, I think. You look so pretty at my wedding, Mum. The sort of thing you never wore at home. Expensive and chic, bluest zingy blue. A life you didn't know but were born to. You carried off that hat with such panache, as if you'd never cooked or mashed the mash. Your smile unhindered and full of wild grace, fretting at my tresses and my lace. Having chosen that day, I was unfree, a harder thing for modern girls to be. It was as though you had a great secret you were keeping, something infinite. I would ask you, now you're gone, I would tell you how you looked in that bluest zingy blue. And just this last one, and then I'll do a few from virtual reality, and then we're done. The narrow glen is different now, but 20 years ago, the soft green floor was decked with primroses, and light filtered through the mossy trees. I was going crazy at the time, and this place, returning, stayed the same. Each spring I'd come and walk up past the shed to the mill pond by the disused glade. It was a sanctuary, the yellow flowers signified returning years, the stream still moving never moved, as I in anguish loved. What is it that has changed since days when I would plunge my head into icy water, numbed and gleeful and bitter? The sawmill's been repaired, and sometimes water flows along the lade. The trees still filter light down from the sun, but the primroses have gone. Okay, so this book, £5 to anyone who wants it, and a free CD of the first part. It's a kind of journey to hell and Dante's footsteps, I suppose. This is the first poem. I've never been right across the river. I sound the bell and the boat comes over, breasting the complex flow. Its outboard points upstream of the point it moves toward. The boatman takes my money on the wharf. I climb down to my seat and he casts off, moving out upon the swirling waters, which are inscrutable and black. He natters about the castle's history, the island, but I can tell that's not what's on his mind. He brings me back when I've brought back the place, the old deft stonework and the river's dark embrace. But one day I know he'll not appear, and having brought me over, leave me here. And the way the structure of the book works is that each following poem starts with the last line of the previous one. So there are sort of set of sonnets each chapter, where each last line is each first line. And then the last line of the chapter is the same as the first line of the chapter, maybe slightly changed. So if I read the last poem of that first chapter, that might give you an idea of the way that links up. Come on then, man, we better zoom. We moved up levels and across. As we ascended, it got worse and worse. I wondered quite what could have become of all these men and women that they were so punished by their own lives, their actions. It seems hopeless, I said, these visions, these sufferings. Afraid I can't offer any solace, friend, he continued. Whenever it gets to the end, you can only face the truth, and for most of us the bare truth is pretty unbearable, no solace. Almost everyone who's ever drawn breath has never been right across the river. And so it goes on. And I'd just like to read one more poem. It's a bit of a favourite. This is the opening poem of the third part, Paradise. Every atom of my body was ablaze with energy, as if a solar wind of subatomic particles streamed through. I was still walking in a daze, and all the river had been left behind. It was a vast city we were coming to, and you were a body of woven light that seemed to be spinning and to be still. You walked and I walked by your side until the gates to the city came into sight. Only then did you say a word. The forests, the oxygen factories all around, and the broad moat with its lilies, they were the only other ones that heard. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Matt. So, as Matt mentioned, his book Virtual Reality is available in the foyer, and the foyer is exactly where Matt is now. May not look like one, but that's what it is. And you get a free CD as well tonight. So £5 and a free CD, beautiful poetry. Thank you very, very much, Matt. And you weren't here earlier when I thanked you. Wait for it. You weren't here when I thanked you for your ISBN number and the loan of your imprint for our anthology. So thank you again to Matt. Right, we're just going to wrap up. We're just maybe about sort of 3 more readings from the anthology, and then it's beer and chatting and book signing and book buying time. And there's so many books to buy this evening. So what I'd like to do is to start off with Mr. Michael Wally, please.
Hello. Well, this is a surprise. So let's do as best as we can, shall we? First of all, I have to find out where it is in the book. See if it actually is in the book. Oh, it is. That's good. Got accepted. This is an extract from a short story called Black Paint. And I don't think it's given too much away to say that the final line of the story is shut the fuck up. So that's something for you to all look forward to when you come to read it, which you can buy over there for the price of £8 for non-contributors and £5 for contributors, but that's only for the first copy. All subsequent copies are £8. November 2011. Phil looked at the scars on his right forearm. What colour were they? Red? Pink? Purple? Mr. King would have known. He was pretty sure his shirt sleeves hadn't ridden up high enough at Tidewell's for his interviewer to see. Get this job, 2012 could be a year of change. A fresh start in a new city felt like a good idea. That's what it would be if he got the job, Phil told himself, a fresh start. He wasn't running away. Why did Mr. King just disappear like that? Where did he go? As the train crawled back north through grey fields, the woman across the carriage was on her mobile again. Yellow? But Gareth, it can't be yellow. She frowned and rubbed her left temple with the middle 3 fingers of her free hand. But it said Magnolia Flush on the tin. Phil felt in his coat pocket for his own mobile, containing the unopened email from Grace. He knew at some point he would have to read it. For now, though, its contents were a mystery, like the tin of paint in Mr. King's art class 25, 30 years ago. Mr. King, with his leather jacket, his triangular beard, his thinning mousy hair, with just enough roots on top to qualify as a side parting rather than a comb over. Mr. King, with his funny views, as old man Campbell and the deputy headmaster used to mutter to the other teachers when he thought the kids couldn't hear. I'll give £5 to anyone who can tell me what colour that paint is. Phil remembered the classroom, small windows high up the wall on one side and larger ones looking out onto a courtyard of weeds and paving slabs. For an art classroom, is allowed very little natural light. In the middle of the room was a huge table, 6 smaller tables pushed together, in the middle of which Mr. King had placed an open tin of pink paint. Of course it's not pink, you fool, Harrison. I can't believe you'd fall for that. Now, come on, think logically. They guessed every colour they could imagine. It's not a trick question. Phil had never forgotten the answer. Well, how yellow is it? The woman across the aisle sighed loudly. No, you listen to me, Gareth. You'll have to tell Marjorie it's unacceptable. We cannot have a guest area that looks like a giant egg yolk. Black. Mr. King had looked back at 25 disbelieving faces. A tin of paint is always black until it's opened. Phil remembered an explanation that involved chemicals reacting with light, and Mr. King prizing off the lid to reveal the paint was pink after all. And 24 members of that class looked at the pink and tried to make sense of what they had just heard. And all Phil felt was exhilaration as he swept his hand across the table and sent the whole tin splattering into the big windows. And Mr. King, even Mr. King, looked taken aback as the classroom gasped and tried to suppress its laughter as Phil said calmly, "I'm sorry, sir, but that is absolute bollocks." The month of detentions, the thrashing at home, the paying for the damage to be cleaned up, that impetuous moment cost Phil a great deal. But was it any worse than